Hey guys, welcome to another live Chino's Arsenal. Um, make sure you guys are liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and getting in the chat and let me know how you guys are thinking and feeling. Diluted is here with me as well, obviously, because you can see him. And we just got done doing a stream on his channel. We chatted about, Man City, what we thought of, who do we just play? Who is it? Luton. Luton. I always forget. It was so crazy because Rob Edwards I was listening to his press conference after the game, and he was talking about all the things that Luton did, and I was like, I don't even remember y'all touching the ball. I'll be so serious. I don't remember a thing that they did. It was crazy. But yeah, we won another game. I think we're like 9 unbeaten, 8 wins and like 1 draw or something like that. Like we're doing really well. Um and the title race is really heating up. So, obviously I know you guys want to talk about Isak and stuff like that, but I do want to start with the title race because like Liverpool obviously plays Sheffield and I know we're expecting them to win. So it's kind of like a nothing thing. But is it Liverpool's to lose, you think? Like I was thinking about that earlier. Do you think it's Liverpool's to lose and we're just trying to like play catch up? Or do you think there's anywhere where they will slip up? Because I'm starting to like, are they actually going to lose a game? What do you think?
I mean, this is the first I'm hearing about Arsenal being part of a title challenge. So I'll take your word for it. We just have to keep working hard, seeing
Nonsense.
what Arteta and the players are
Pure
doing. And then,
nonsense.
no, like seeing Arteta, everything he's doing, the players improving, that's winning a title for me. If Liverpool are top and they do have Sheffield United next, you can't really see where they're going to drop points, really, if I'm completely honest with you. So I have to say you're right. It is theirs to lose, really. Arsenal and City allegedly are playing catch up, but you know more about the title challenge than me. As I said, that's the first I'm hearing about that. Just
Yeah. All right. One thing about Liverpool that I've always said, and I know like I think we've spoken about it as well, is that Klopp's ability to like get so much out of a small group or a team that's like ravaged with injuries. Like I've only really seen them slip up like last season. They really just could not get it together, but they still they still got Europa League. They didn't slide too far down. And so one of the challenges for Mikel this season, I think a lot of us are looking for, especially in the run in, is how does he utilize his squad in order to get the most out of what he has in a time where tensions are high, there's no room for error. And, we have some players coming back, we have some players on the fringes. And so we did see probably a more rotated lineup than we're used to seeing against Luton yesterday. Were you surprised at how much we rotated? And before the game, were you worried at all? Personally, I was surprised at how rotated we were.
I was surprised by the amount of changes Mikel Arteta made. I was quite happy because I think we had the balance. We basically had a first choice back five, including the keeper. I know Zinchenko is behind Kyrgios in the pecking order, but for a long time he was our first choice left back. So I think he rotated in the key areas and he was very cute and clever. Like obviously it's never nice not to see Saka, but you would have liked if Saka was fit to take the day off. I think generally now is the time for Mikel Arteta to start rotating a bit of what you said. And to be honest with you, since the start of 2024, there has, if not rotation in terms of different starters, even though Kyrgios's been getting time and things like that as a byproduct of injuries, I do think we've been able to do that. Like I think it was Sheffield United away, Saka came off after 45 minutes. So I think we have been doing that and we need to do that more. And I know I'm not criticizing Mikel Arteta because I think if life, like football, if life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. We need to play the best players and the best players to do the job. And right now we've been doing that because we've been getting points. But of course, it's difficult for a manager to tell the players on the fringes that I believe in you. I think you're a good player. Ultimately, if you're not playing, so you had an opportunity against Luton. I don't think everybody took it. I think Partey looked good. I think Zinchenko had some good moments. I think Smith Rowe was fairly positive. As we said on my channel, I think Nelson played a bit safe, but Arteta bet on all these players in August. So we're going to need everyone, really. We've gone beyond that now of just a stabilized 11. We're going to have to be cute and clever with when people come in and come out of the side. So it is something we're going to have to utilize, just to answer your question.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's just no way that the same 13 players, 14 players are going to be able to
Exactly.
get it done. Like, everybody's going to need to play a role. Did you think, because obviously the conversation is now going towards, the Brighton game and who actually, did enough to maybe warrant a start? How are you setting up against Brighton? Do you think Emil did enough to start against Brighton, or would you try Partey? Like, how are you thinking? Because, like, obviously Mikel also has to think that, like, probably Luton is our least, taxing game. And I think there was a bit of like admin done against Luton, really. Get Partey some minutes, get Zinchenko some minutes, get Emil involved. Brighton is a different story because you're going away from home against a better side, but then you have Bayern after that. So in your mind, who still needs to be rested? Who needs to come back in? Like, what do we need to do from now until Bayern to get our best possible team to play against them in the Champions League? Because I imagine that's what it's going to take.
Keep doing what Mikel Arteta has been doing. Some players have started in certain games, others have started in others. Some people have played 45 minutes or an hour. Some people have played the whole 90. Declan Rice has been given a relative night off by his own standards against Luton. In relation to Brighton, sorry, I know Brighton are not the Brighton they once was. I know our away form's been great. I know De Zerbi gets a lot of plaudits and Brighton play a lot of good football, and they're probably trying to aspire to achieve what they're trying to achieve. It's essentially cup finals. For me, I think it's more or less got to be the same team that's been doing the business bar the Luton game, really, because I think Arteta has to play on those that are in form and those that just make our team better. But at the same time, though, if you like what you said with Smith Rowe, I'm not saying he should start, but as much as we're fighting for the league and all of these things, giving somebody faith in football can really take them up a level. I don't know if Smith Rowe has the legs in him at the moment to get a start coming so quickly. So I would say no. If anybody for me was going to push for starts, it all depends on what we're going to do with Jorginho, but I would say Thomas Partey, Odegaard and Declan Rice would be my midfield three. Kyrgios hasn't put a foot wrong and he deserves to play against Brighton and he has my confidence, but potentially there's Tomiyasu there. It all depends on Bukayo Saka, really and truly. If Saka is back fit, then he plays.
Yeah.
I'm more likely to explore with Trossard, Martinelli and Jesus in wide areas to go with Kai Havertz up front before I try anyone else that I haven't listed. So I think it's got to be the strongest team possible, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think we have much room to maneuver. But I do agree with like Jacobs is saying White and Havertz especially need rest. If there was any moment to maybe give White a little break, it might be against Brighton, but that's with everybody else being the same. So Saliba, Gabriel, and Kivior. Go with the midfield of like I would probably start maybe Partey against Brighton because I feel like Jorginho needs to start against Bayern. A lot of people have it the other way that they feel like Jorginho should play against Brighton and we have to play Partey Rice against Bayern. I just feel like he has like Partey, if you even want like watching him yesterday was, oh my gosh, like you can see his quality, but you could also see that he's like insanely rusty. There was still some loose passes. There was still some like, you know, some little I'm afraid for him against Bayern. So I might start him against Brighton and then definitely give Kai a rest and an opportunity not to get a freaking yellow. Because my goodness, he's like 2 away from being suspended,
But can
which
we
is
really
insane.
give him a rest, though?
I mean, you could play Gabriel Jesus. What is he here for if he's not going to
Yeah,
play?
you can. But at the same time, like, I think the team's kind of picking itself. I hear you with the Kai Havertz thing, and you're kind of hoping he doesn't get a yellow card. He probably will. This is just the nature of the business. But Kai Havertz, for me, is one of the first. I can't believe I'm sitting here and saying this. So big up Arteta and Kai, but he's one of the first names in the team sheet. I think we need to a degree, deal with what's in front of us. Bayern Munich, in a degree, I know it's two separate entities, but it doesn't really mean anything if you don't go and beat what's in front of you in Brighton. I've got complete faith in Jesus. And like you said there, if we can't trust Havertz out for Jesus in, then we're in issues. But I'm starting Havertz, really. I hear you. I think him, Benjamin White, and the other names you said in general, they need rest. But these players want to play as long as they're doing their rehab well. And the cold-hearted truth is we need to win these games, innit? So if Mikel Arteta believes that's the best option, then fair. In relation to Jorginho and Partey against Bayern and Brighton, it's a techie one. I don't really know. I would say I would, in theory, because of his ability, big up Jorginho, but I'd rather play Partey against Bayern Munich. But I think it should be Jorginho, just because if I had one criticism for Partey beyond the obvious, I think for someone that's a good player in tough moments, I do think his head drops a lot more than someone like Jorginho. So it's one where I'm happy I'm not Arteta, Jess. And I don't have to make that decision.
I don't want to have to make that decision either. Johnny makes his comment saying Havertz needs rest because Jesus is miles better. Havertz is only better at a real game than Jesus. That's it. And I don't know, like I'm trying to understand the thing. I don't know if I actually Jesus, is he miles better than Havertz? Like, do we believe he's miles better than Havertz and it's just that he's injured? Like, what do we think about Jesus right now? Because I was critical of him after Man City. I am worried. I feel like his status in the team has dropped a little bit in terms of like, is he really like somebody that needs to be in the 11 for us to do anything? No. You know, does he need to be rushed back in? Is he that much better than what Trossard gives us? I don't know. How are you feeling about Jesus right now? Because I know you always have like a lot of faith in him, but I was also having conversation with some of my friends too, like, um, if a bid came in, like, what are we thinking? Like, where are we with Jesus genuinely?
I mean, first, where do we start? How long you got, Jess? I'd say the first thing I've got to say with Gabriel Jesus is the injuries. I do think that's affected your confidence and obviously your role in the team and your durability. Arteta's had to find other solutions. If a bid came in, everybody's got a price. And I know Arsenal and Mikel Arteta are doing great things, but we are not at the pinnacle. We have not achieved what Manchester City have achieved to be talking about a 4-time Premier League winner departing this squad. There's a lot of strength he can give us. The one thing I would say with Gabriel Jesus is the same thing I've said from the jump. When he joined here, there was that premise of, Gabriel Jesus has a lot of great qualities. Goal scoring is not one of them. With a platform to play through the middle, you might be able to do that. You've shown an inability to do that, even though at all the other aspects of playing up front, you do. If being clinical was what Arteta wanted from a striker, Havertz, Trossard, Gabriel Jesus, and Eddie Nketiah, none of them lead the line for this football club. So I think Jesus has a lot. I think people are quite disrespectful to Jesus. I think he needs to put up or shut up. But I'm persisting with him, man. In relation to that Kai Havertz general play, I do think his general play is a lot more cuter and cleverer. But Kai Havertz is in a great run of form at this moment in time. I still believe wholeheartedly in Gabriel Jesus, and there's a lot to trust in him. And there's a lot of people that need to leap before him. We need to do what Manchester City did in that. You're a bit like with Zinchenko as well. We took you lot from them. You were key players. You gave a lot of experience and changed our system. Jesus changed things up front. Zinchenko in the inverted role. But you lot are squad players now. Until Jesus can bag goals and stay fit at this moment in time, you are a squad player. Zinchenko, you haven't improved enough defensively. And as we get better as a team, the pros to your game are not really outbalanced. The cons to your game, are not outbalancing the pros. But I must admit, I think people are very disrespectful to Gabriel Jesus, man. And I think he's a key member of our squad. Keyword squad.
See, Walder says, I'm currently wanting to see more of Jesus with a steady run, but he's not looking like his old self recently. And Yaya said, I've stopped dependency on Jesus and Zinni, which is a good thing. We need him for another season max. We can get rid of Zinni if we get Kimmich and Timber stays fit. So one thing that I will say about Jesus is I feel like so right now we're kind of like in the uncertainty stage with the knee injury. Like how big of an extent is that going to be? Is he going to gain his explosiveness and his sharpness back? Because if he were to play, like let's say next season, he arrived in preseason the way that he arrived when he first came, that version I'm not selling, period. Because that version is good. Very, very good. He restored the feeling. I think that was like the best we've seen from a forward at Arsenal in a very long time. So I don't want to disregard that. Now, the player that we're seeing now, if he were to come into preseason like he is now, maybe unsure of like afraid to do something to the knee, no explosiveness, a little bit of like lack of confidence in what he's doing, then I feel like we need to have other conversations because it's like that player for me is not somebody that I feel like we need, so it's like, where are we with him? I feel like he deserves a chance to show that he can come back and look like the guy that we bought genuinely. Because it's just like, come on, we have to give him at least that. I feel as though, because if he was to show up like he did this season prior, then yeah, like he's great. But he is a part of the squad now. I definitely think that we need to be buying a striker, buying some attackers, and moving him down the pecking order. But it's also just like whether or not, City are able to create a good squad. Klopp is able to rely upon players coming off of the bench and having good runs, at important times. Can we rely on Zinni and Jesus to come in as squad players and actually make a difference? Because I feel like that's always my concern about our bench is that they're there and we think they're good, but when we ask them to come in, do they have the ability to actually really press, like, and to really, like, make a difference? That's my only concern. That's pretty much all it is. So, we'll see how that, like, unfolds. But speaking of strikers, the Isak conversation is starting to become louder and louder, and it's probably because, like, it's weird. Every single time that we're linked with a striker, they go on, like, a crazy goal run, and Isak is no different. He's on, like, 5 5 goals, like run or something like that, like home run. I don't know. Like he's scoring loads of goals, whatever.
Mm.
And he looks great. He ticks a lot of boxes. What do you think about him being potentially like our number one target? Like, do you believe he should be? Um, and what do you think the likelihood is of us being able to attain him in the summer?
Likelihood, I quite pessimistic because I do think, you know, if we've shown we'll flex our muscles like with Declan Rice, then you can buy almost anybody that you want. But Newcastle, I know the whole rhetoric is around FFP. I don't know how far that goes. If it's being overstated, then they have no reason to sell Isak. And if they're really trying to be this new look Newcastle side, then they're going to have to revisit their medical department and keeping people fit. But the Bruno Guimaraes and the Isaks have to stay at the club. I don't agree with him being the next Thierry Henry and all of these things. I certainly think he's better than our last number 14. I definitely think he's Thierry Henry-esque. Top target, I'm not sure because of the price tag, and the one knock I have against him is injuries. But I like his ability to run into the channels. I like his link-up play. I like his skills. I like his temperament. I like the fact that he used to play with Odegaard, and maybe we could see that in North London, what is like 24, 25. So there's scope to grow. There's a lot to like about Isak. So if it was just a case of me liking the footballer and signing him, just get it done today, man. If I'm honest, love
Yeah,
him as a footballer.
people are like, why are you calling him Baby Henri? I'm like, I'm not calling him Baby Henri. I've seen that on my timeline. And I'm like, people are genuinely like, he's Baby Henri. He's Baby Henri. And I feel like, yeah, some of y'all ain't never watched Henri before, but I get what you're saying. I get it. Like when he cuts in on his right and takes a shot, it's Henri-esque, like you said.
But it's the injuries as well, man.
The injuries are there,
Scary.
for sure, and it is scary. I'm the first one to be like, we don't need to buy nobody that's injury prone. But people is like once they like a player, they really start to like delve deep and like try to make excuses and be like, oh, well, it's Newcastle's medical department. Look, everybody, Eddie Howe, he has like this long-standing history of ACLs. Like, oh, but when he was at Sociedad, he wasn't, maybe it's just he needs to be in London. It's not as cold. Like, I don't know. They're just saying all nonsense. The guy, if he comes to Arsenal, is going to get injured. So do you think that he's going to be worth 100 million playing 20 games this season? That's what you need to ask yourself. Because that's
And that's one that
genuinely
I
going to
wish I could
be
answer.
like, that's going to be what it is. He's going to play 20 games. So we're going to have to rely upon other players to step in. And is it worth what Newcastle are going to want, which is most likely close to 100 million? That's what you have to ask yourself. I don't know.
That's the age old
Just
question. Mr. Andy Braithwaite, I think you've really misunderstood me in the comments. I really rarely pay attention to the comments, but I've literally just said I don't agree that he's baby Thierry Henry. I think he's Thierry Henry.
no, that's
Please,
different.
please, 2 of these, 1 of these, 10 of these, please. But yeah, go on, Chess. That'd be easy.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
But Mata says, imagine if we had a player who wants to shoot the ball. Imagine. That'd be
Imagine,
great.
bro.
Imagine. Samuel says Partey is still very important in our squad. We only have to how crucial he was last year. Yo-Yo says Isak, Osimhen, Pedro Neto are all non-starters because of being physically fragile. Edu doesn't sell well enough to risk buying more injury-prone players. And so I'm there. Like I'm there with the injury proneness and like it's going to be a lot of money and I understand why people like him. I think he looks fantastic. He ticks a lot of boxes and I would take him. It just seems like a very like far-fetched thing at the moment. Now I don't believe a word that he says, saying like, "Oh, I want to stay here for the project." Buddy, if we come calling, you will leave. Trust. Like I don't believe you, But I do think if Newcastle were to sell a player this summer, it'll be most likely Bruno Guimaraes. I feel like he's the most out there. He's not torquing, but he's not there for the project in the long haul. Let's be serious. Like
Signed a new deal last year, though, or something, to be fair, but I agree with you.
but made sure that he had a release clause in there.
Yeah, that's why I
Made
said I
sure
agree
that
with
he
you.
could escape.
Yeah, the game's the game. 100%. Nah, I agree with you. He's been linked with City as well, as so as West Ham's Paqueta. That could be crazy, them two players.
I was going to ask you about that. Would it sicken you if they ended up with a midfield that we probably could have had?
Of course, but I'm used to it. It's City. It's Man City, just like they could do anything, get anyone. It's like they almost got Declan Rice, fortunately for Arteta. Could you imagine Rodri and Declan Rice? Our task of fighting for this title would be even tougher.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking like Rodri, Bruno Guimaraes, Paqueta, KDB still there.
Folding here and there, Bernardo. Forget about it. Forget about it.
That's
Forget about it.
how like, we cannot
Forget about
compete.
it.
We
That'd be
cannot.
crazy. It's not
Cannot.
fair. You'd hope the
Honestly,
charges
yeah.
against them stick. To
Yeah,
be honest.
I'm like trying to think like what we could do to like fight back. I don't know if we could. I don't know if we could. Odegaard and Rice
Wouldn't
be
stand a
fighting for
chance.
their lives. And with that, like knowing that there are going to be some big midfield opportunities in the summer, who would be your number one choice? Like I'm putting you on the spot, seriously, because you don't like to be on the spot. Like if I ask you who's going to complete this midfield thingy, like we have 3 players, who's going to balance out Odegaard and Rice the best? Who?
I don't think there's a definite answer. We'd all love the Frankie De Jongs of this world. I wouldn't mind Coop Miners. I'm a big fan of Zubimendi. I'd love for us to get Douglas Luiz. Bruno Gamara's would actually be my first choice, but then that's a non-starter. I wouldn't even mind Lucas Paqueta as well. Paquetá, better yet, from West Ham. I think he would be very good in that left 8, but I don't know, Jess, man. I don't know. Just bring me Zubimendi and let's take it from there. He seems, out of the names I said, one of the more attainable players, man. That João Neves guy from Benfica is great, but at 19 with £100 million price tag on his head, I don't know if we're going to be at the front of the queue for that.
Yo-Yo makes an interesting point about Fabio Vieira. He didn't come on yesterday. He's not getting a lot of minutes. He's been kind of like back in the fold for a minute. Is that something, a cause for concern? You know, that somebody that, you know, he spent what 30, 35 million on is maybe not getting like it's Luton at home. Can't rest Odegaard, can't even take him off for like 20 minutes to give Fabio some rest. Is that something to be concerned about? Again, like a player that in a window where Paquetá was available, we chose to bring in Fabio Vieira, and like there's still not a lot of confidence that he's going to make it.
This is the problem, man. I think with Fabio, it's a shame because there's a lot to like about him, really and truly. You'd love him to lock down the 10 and 8s. As I've said on your channel before, I think he joined Arsenal at the best and worst time, in a sense of best because we're moving forward as a club, worse because you've stepped in. Granit Xhaka has been playing in that 8. Odegaard's been in the 10 this season. Jorginho's a better option than you in that role. Kai Havertz has played there. In August, he did kind of get an opportunity with Fulham at home, I believe, in the North London derby. He's another one, like we saying on my platform with Nelson. He just has to stay fit. Like if I had to compare Fabio Vieira's career at Arsenal to something, it's a circle. You get your cameos, you do well, you start looking like you're building some momentum. You might get an assist or two, show great link-up play with Martinelli. Then you get injured and we're back like that again. He did get 45 minutes when Saka came off against Sheffield United. And I agree. I did expect him to get game time yesterday. But the cold, harsh reality is, you know, Arteta preferred giving other people opportunities and certain key players still had to play, really. So it could have been an opportunity for Fabio Vieira, maybe even off that right-hand side where he's played ahead of Nelson. But then Nelson's had to be patient. So maybe it was a thing where Arteta just said, you know what, there's other options. I do like Fabio Vieira. It's hard not to like him, you know, with his technical level and things, but it's time to start pulling up some trees in some degree. Because if you're not going to necessarily push for that 8 role or the 10, which I would like you to do so we can solve things internally, at least just be a versatile player. I'm not comparing him to Bernardo Silva, for example, but I think he needs to look at his fellow countrymen, you know, because he's not the biggest of figures, but he doesn't get pushed off the ball easily. He's able to stay fit and he's able to perform out wide. I don't think Fabio Vieira is a wide man. I don't really like seeing him in that kind of Saka role because I don't think we play to his strengths. But you look at Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, Bernardo Silva, there is a couple of attacking mids out playing out wide and performing. So I like him. He's versatile. He's adaptable. I think he's got one of the best final balls in the team, but just the man's got to stay fit, man. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he's had his injury issues as well, like you said, and he just hasn't been able to get any sort of consistency. And then when he does play, it's just like moments here and there, but not like really like complete performances. And so Vieira's still like a little bit of a question mark. I rate him. I think that he has tons of talent. I just need to see like way more than that because it's just like, yeah, it's a tough one. And I also just like question what our goal is with him because he is really different than Odegaard. I know that people are like, well, he could just step in for Odegaard. I'm like, a problem that I feel like it's not a problem, but I feel like it's something that I don't know, like maybe you can let me know if you agree or disagree with that, but there's certain players that are like foundational to what we do, and if they're not in there, we don't necessarily change the tactics to suit the players that come in for them, and those players are very different. Like Trossard versus Martinelli. Martinelli comes in on the right, against Luton, and we're kind of still trying to do the same things that we do at Saka with him, and it's just very different. Fabio, when he plays on the wing, he definitely can't play like Saka. But we still do the same things. And I just wonder, like, if there's a little bit of like a need to be more flexible or to play to the strengths of the players that are out there instead of almost like expecting them to do what the player that they're replacing does. What do you think about that?
I think with Fabio Vieira, obviously you can play in the 10. He's very different to Odegaard, but he's very similar in that they've got a good final ball, eye for a pass. I think when you read between the lines and listen to Mikel Arteta's press conferences in relation to Fabio, he says little things just like, oh, he's understanding everything we want. I think it's the defensive aspects of the game because, everybody's got a complicated role. But you look at Ben White at fullback and you look at Odegaard in the 10. I think those are two of the more complicated roles in the Mikel Arteta system. Like, we be here all day, especially me and you, talking about Odegaard on the ball, but it's all the stuff off it. I think Fabio Vieira showed an improvement in that regards, but I don't think he does that. I'm not necessarily saying to the standard of Odegaard because you don't, but I don't think you kind of mimic that. And I think that's probably where Mikel Arteta is thinking, oh, I'm not sure, because I think Arteta's not giving a lot of credit for it, but he puts a lot of emphasis on what we do without the ball, how quickly we win the ball back, joining the press, and what you do when certain teammates have the ball. And I don't know if Fabio Vieira fully understands that. It's not the same, but it's a bit like what we saw from Smith Rowe yesterday, in that Smith Rowe's a very cute footballer, great in the pockets and things, but you saw more of a ferocious one with the intensity to win the ball back, as you saw. So I think it's probably that for Fabio Vieira to bring into his game, man.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yo-Yo says that you can argue Martinelli himself isn't able to master the role that Arteta wants out left. How do you feel about that?
No, because why
Um,
would he be playing?
we
There
don't.
was.
I
I
mean,
don't think that's said last season. I think there's Martinelli's a work in progress. He definitely is very frustrating in elements and probably needs to kick on a lot. But he's been a key player for Mikel Arteta. And you got to remember, there was a time where people were saying he needs to go out on loan because he's not getting game time. So clearly, the penny's dropped to some degree in the last couple of years. So I don't agree with that personally.
yeah, it's interesting because, like, I feel like I think Martinelli has maximized that position as much as possible for what he's given. Like, I do think that there's, like, people say he's isolated out there. I do think that it's true. Like, our left-hand side is more isolated, and so he maximizes it as much as he can. He gets involved as much as he can. He does a lot. That being said, I always have it in the back of my mind that we're consistently linked to left wings. We were about to spend 80 something million on Mudryk. I do think there is something there where Arsenal want to bring in something different, and I wonder what that means for Martinelli. But at this point, um, you know, Martinelli, we got him for like 5 million or some shit, and like he's done so well playing in a position that wasn't naturally like his thing. I do wonder what the plan is with Martinelli. I would like to see him come central at some point too.
Yeah.
Like TBG is saying, like, I think there's more to come from Martinelli. That's something that we can't see. Arteta and Edu have long-term plans for our players, and sometimes I feel like they have to do roles for a certain amount of time before they get who they really need, and then it changes. And so I don't want to put too much sauce on it, but we are always kind of linked with players in that position. I do think we'll bring somebody in
It's
that can
open
do it.
season there, Jess, really and truly. Like,
Yeah,
out of the front three, Saka is the only one that's solidified. I know
yeah.
Martinelli had a great season last year, but it's like Martinelli's here, Saka is there. So there's that. Obviously, we've seen a lot of people play up front. So until Martinelli does the Saka stuff, there's always going to be open season. And to be fair, there's been times where you would have loved to have seen Martinelli and Saka pulled out the team. But until anybody does what Saka, Gabriel, Saliba, Declan Rice, your position's going to be up for debate. Even if it's not, like Ramsdale hardly put a foot wrong last season. And I'm not criticizing Mikel Arteta, but he saw an opportunity to upgrade. So it is what it is. It comes with playing for a big club, really.
Okay, so what do you think? So, because we had kind of talked about this on your channel, but just in case people weren't there, we're missing pace. You agree in our front line? Or no? Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing. I'm listening. You said we're
You
missing pace,
agree?
right?
Yeah, we're missing pace. Is there anybody out there on the market that you think could like fix that for us or bring that pace? Like, is there anybody? Because obviously, like, people are always talking about like Nico Williams and Pedro Neto. Are those the type of players that you feel like would offer more of that like pace and for our front line, or what do you think?
Naturally, just because you've seen it, as you said, when we've tried to get Rafinha, Pedro Neto, and Mudryk, who could probably have played in a couple of roles as well as the left. Arteta clearly is trying to go for that. Now, I know people could say 65 million on Kai Havertz. He's now playing up front, 45 million on Gabriel Jesus, who's obviously been a striker. But where you look at it, Arteta signed a lot of goalies. He signed a lot of centre halves. The big money additions, he's not been scared to flex his muscles with Thomas Partey's addition and obviously Declan Rice's. It does feel like the next trajectory is a marquee or an expensive kind of signing in that regard. So I'm with you with that.
Nuances of Fate says, I'd argue we dodged a bullet with Mudryk for 80 million, but we do like to shoot ourselves, so we'll probably double back. What do you think Mudryk would have been like if he had signed for Arsenal?
I think he would have been a lot better, really and truly. Like, obviously, I think I think Shakhtar played a blinder, calling him the Ukrainian Neymar. They completely pulled Chelsea's pants down, and that's one thing I have liked about Arteta and Edu. Whether it's gone right or wrong, you look at the last few seasons. Where Jorginho and Trossard came in, we was trying to get Caicedo and Mudryk. That didn't happen. The January before that, we didn't sign Vlahovic. I do like that. I think Mudryk would have been a lot better. Everybody at Chelsea is shit right now, really. Everybody's shit. Like, their environment is shit. Their culture is shit. Everything, sorry for swearing, everything is crap. So I think he would have fed in a lot better. I think he would have been given time to grow into that role, because he joined in January as well, which is very difficult. And with the greatest of respect to the Ukrainian league, and I know he done well against Real Madrid in the champs, but the step from that to going all the way up there is a very different thing. And Mudryk seems like a confidence man. I do think I'm not saying he'll be amazing, but I do think he'll have a better bit of form, because he seems to be doing all the good things, but seems like he needs an arm around him. And the harsh reality is Chelsea haven't really got time for that. I think he would have fared a lot better. I don't know if he would have got 10 goals, 20 goals, bare assists and whatnot, but I think he would have done all right, man. Like, I know Arteta will get signings wrong and has, even though the majority of them have been good, but there has to be an element as to why he wanted him, why we were so prepared to spend big money. Obviously, Chelsea came in and messed it up, but I think he would have done a lot better. And I actually think you would have seen a lot of Mudryk on the left, but also on the right, potentially, to allow Saka to rest his legs. But just who knows, man? Like, it does look like we dodged a bullet, 100%.
Listen, there's 225 of you guys in here, so make sure you guys smash the likes, get in the comments. But I'm gonna let you guys know that, as unpopular as it, first of all, I was broken when we did not sign Mudryk. Broken.
I think everyone was.
There's fucking evidence on the internet of me like being so heartbroken on my birthday. I was just like, I cannot believe we didn't get him. I can't believe after all this we didn't get him. I watched all the comps. I was watching all the interviews. I was like, I was like, this is it. We got it. We got a wonder kid.
He was twerking for us on socials as well.
Yes, I was like, yes. And we didn't get him. And I was broken. Now, maybe it's just a little bit of I can't let go, but he's gonna be my hear me out. He's gonna be my hear me out for the summer. I'm sorry, like, they need to sell. They don't rate him. I still rate him.
He might be available at a discount, to be fair.
I still rate him. I'm sorry. And I would take him.
8-year contract and whatnot. He's living.
C1 is saying, if the price is good, I'd still take a risk on Mudryk.
I would. Dependent on the price. And I'm no accountant. It's not my money. But if it makes sense, Arteta, you wanted him. So there must be not just how good he is now, but what you could do with him.
I need to see Arteta work his magic. Failed wonder kid at Chelsea. We sign a Chelsea player every window.
Yeah, Jorginho and Havertz have worked out all right. But equally, if we leave him alone, fair enough, innit? Sometimes things happen for a reason, innit? I guess. But I do think with the
happen for a reason, but sometimes it's okay to go back.
And when I look, it's true, but I look at the Mudryk thing, and I think it's never nice to go. You should never go back to an ex-relationship, for one, and also, he looks like he was kind of bullied into signing for Chelsea. Like, I also feel like, yes, Chelsea was a project, but it felt like the forces above you are guiding you into that. It's not, you don't really want to go there. I know you saw the rumors about apparently he was crying on the phone to Arteta or getting on a plane.
I'm going to have to believe
it. There's Suge Knight there, man.
Listen, I just feel he has it. Like, I just know. I just know. They don't know what they're doing with him. I just don't think they know.
I know with half the team.
Cal is in Paris, says Arteta can fix Mudryk. Jagun says we can fix him. Yeah, just one more time. Just one more, we could fix him. Just one more time for old time's sake. Because, man, like, that player, I thought we had him. I was like, it's done. Like, it's done, and we didn't get him. Coach says, nah, Xavi Simmons. I think
That would be
PSG
lovely.
would be insane not to just,
Exactly.
with Mbappe going, you know? And that's really where Leao should go. If he goes anywhere, I feel like he should go to PSG. That's what I would do if I was him. I can't
I
see
mean,
him in
they
the
want him
Prem.
and Osimhen. Apparently, that was two good signings, really.
Yeah, I just can't see him in the Prem for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe, I don't know. Justin J says, let it go. I can't. I cannot let it go. I don't know why. Brandon says, I don't think Chelsea want to sell Mudryk. Maybe not, but
Probably not.
still,
But then
D
if you put
Shadow.
40, 50 million, I know it's not what they
That's
spent. They might, I'm not saying to do it, but they might think, oh, you know what? But I think
well,
they'll move on Sterling and them kind of players before him, man.
fuck, because they probably know. Like at some point, I do think he'll come good. I don't know when,
Same.
but D
I
Shadow
hope not
says,
now.
I know. I would love him to flop. And like that whole first year where he didn't score, it was like, yes, because I was definitely watching the games like, please don't score, please don't score, please don't score.
He
And he had
annoyed
like,
me when he scored that fluky goal against us, and I was
yes,
like, fuck's
because
sake.
you knew it was gonna be him. And then he
Yeah,
stood
it
up
was
in
written in
front
the
of them and
stars.
was like, I was like, I hate you so much right now because I knew you were gonna do this. And there was like one moment last season when he first signed for them, and like, everybody was hoping that he would bang right away just to like put the salt in the wound for us. And he had one little run that he made against
Against
whatever team,
Liverpool.
and they're like,
Against
yes,
Liverpool. And that's
yes,
sorry to cut you, yeah, but
yes.
that's where I said the alarm bells, because I remember Pepe did that and Arsenal fans were waxing lyrical. That's when I was like, oh, there might be a dud here.
They were like, is Eden Hazard reincarnate? Like that's what they were going with. And I was
They're
like,
doing a lot.
I need you to fail so badly right now. And then he went the rest of the time not doing anything, and it was great. But I still do think like he will come good. Just hopefully, like, I don't know. It's just I would go back. I would go back, but that's just me. Johnny D says, question avoided by everyone for Jess and DG. How come no best player ever plays in the best league in the world? Figo, Zidane, Ronaldo, Gaucho, Ronaldinho, Messi, Mbappe. Is it really the best league? That's an interesting question. What do you
That's
think
a
about
good question. That's a very good question. To be fair, Cristiano Ronaldo, off the top of my head, what? Cristiano Ronaldo must have had a claim to that when he was at Man United. Obviously, had Messi. Probably my guy. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe they just don't fancy the Premier League and the weather and whatnot.
they're
I
not
don't
trying to
know.
get beat up, and they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
trying to go to Burnley.
And maybe you get more clout, or not that they need it, but I just feel a lot of fans typically, especially English league fans, they rate a lot of players to unrealistic expectations, and when they see them up close and personal, it's just like with Paul Pogba and Mesut Ozil. Take nothing away from those two players because they didn't do anything, but it's like in England, I think English football fans are a bit slow in comparison to footballers. It's like them two signed for the Premier League clubs, and it's like they want these lot to do everything, score a million goals, be everywhere, cure world hunger, win every sporting competition. So yeah, man, that's a good question. And really, I don't know. I'd say Cristiano was the last one. Don't
But
know
I
when the
still
next
feel like
one.
every best player has dreams of playing for Real Madrid. That's just the truth. They just do. They want to
Yeah,
play for Real
Henry as
Madrid.
well.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of like I feel like yes, the Premier League is the best league, but it doesn't have Real Madrid in it, and it's obtainable for a lot of these players now to get to Real Madrid before they hit their prime, because Real Madrid
Facts.
are open to bringing in younger players, and they are investing in like the best wonder kids. They're getting the Endricks before they really hit. They're getting the Vinnies and the Rodrigos and these guys. So
It's a
I
very
feel
good
like
question, man.
they don't need the step before to get to where they want to go. We'll see
True.
what
Who really
happens.
grows up and like, unless you're English or an Arsenal fan,
You
no one
don't grow
really
up
grows
wanting
up.
to
Yeah,
play
you don't
for, yeah,
really grow up and want to do that. Yeah, man. It's all
yeah,
like you said, Real Madrid and Barca's, and that. You don't really grow up
yeah.
want to play in it.
And you can get there now without having to go anywhere else first. I think you
Yeah,
can just, you know, so and that saves the La Liga teams from having to spend loads of money elsewhere getting these players in because they can just bring them in when they're children. So I think it's just like a different time, whatever. But I do think the Premier League is the best league, but I will say that, like, watching other leagues, I do think Premier League fans should peek in every once in a
I
while
think most
because
entertaining. I don't know. I don't think
let's
best.
say okay, so let's say
Me anyway.
most entertaining.
Most entertaining, 100%. You look at the riches in the game. Anyone can quote unquote beat anybody. You know, obviously City have turned it into a farmers league, but anything can kind of happen. I think most entertaining. I would say for me, maybe not so much in quality, but I would say La Liga. I just find it more tactical and things like that. So yeah, it all
Yeah.
depends what people are looking at, though.
La Liga is a very good league. I know that people have their like things against La Liga, and like I get it because like all the racism they've had, like
Oh
issues,
yes,
you know. So it's like no La Liga. But just in terms of like watching the games, there's some good fucking players and some good fucking teams. Like genuinely, you know.
facts.
So it's better than Bundesliga. Like Bundesliga doesn't even get close. Serie A, I don't tap in very often, but whenever I do, I'm like, this is what y'all are drooling over? Like, this is whatever. Like, really?
Yeah,
Oh my
I
god,
like
Serie
Serie A,
A.
but it's a bore. It is a bore. It is a
Yeah.
bore.
But when you do watch those games, especially like the Serie A games and La Liga games, and you look at the atmosphere and where they're playing them games at, I'll be so fucking serious. If I was not English, I would not want to play in England if I could play there. Do you see
I'd
the
be
like,
doing up Spain, man,
yeah, if you've been to Spain, you
or
know.
Monaco. Really, like generous taxes and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just saying.
Nah,
So,
you're
yeah.
right, man.
Yeah,
It's a
like
good
to get
question. It's
to
a good
get beat up
question.
and be cold? Why?
Do you know what it is with England as well? Like, you know what it is with England as well? Yeah, it's probably like I failed at geography, but it's probably like unless you're in London, it's not really that much of an attraction. Of course, you got Manny, Liverpool, you know, the foreigners are all over there, so you can make friends. But in terms of a city, you know, Real Madrid, I mean, well, Madrid, that's a glorious city. Barcelona, there's a lot to do. You know, you look at someone like Cesc Fabregas' career, he's played in London, he's played in Italy, in Lake Como, he's played in Monaco. It's probably that. And again, sometimes people don't move to these teams because of their wives and their family. They might not want to be here. And like you said just now, could be the weather, man. Like it's people just not on it. Like it's just not that. Like really and truly, like the only attraction I could say to the Prem is the fact that everyone can beat everyone. There's some managers that could attract you to sign for it. The Premier League is crazy. I would say Pep Guardiola with his pool, and it's probably the money. Like it's
I was just
you
about to
know
say
it's the
the
money.
money.
It's the
Yeah.
money. Like you get big money here. And forget if you're a great player. For some shit players are on some big money that I think I ain't got no result, nothing to hand. But I'm sure if me and you went through every Premier League team or all the weekly wages and we looked at the shittest teams, well, not really, but the shitter teams and the best teams in La Liga or whatever, there's probably some sort of disparity between the pay. So it all depends, man. It all depends.
100%.
It's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, for sure. My last question is kind of like an off-topic question, but this is like about the time where I start to like just start to tap into the championship because it's about to be playoff time. Who do you think is going to come up?
I'm going with Leeds, man. I'm going with Leeds. I'm going with Leeds. I can't reveal my reasons, but I'm going for Leeds. Big up Leeds United, man. I hope you get promoted, Leeds, man. I'm going with Leeds. But then again, what's the other team? Someone's bopping the championship. Leicester's doing all
Leicester,
right.
Ipswich.
Yeah, Ipswich. Do you know what? Ipswich are doing very good, man. Since they come out of League One, is it McKenna, the manager? He's done well. I'm gonna have to back Leeds. I want to see Leeds back in, man.
Yeah,
Somerville looks
Leeds.
lit as well.
Yeah. Would you? I mean, like, I hate Leicester,
Why?
but
What?
I just
Why you
hate
beefing Leicester?
them. I just have beef. I just don't hate them. They got arrogant and they thought
Leicester.
they could talk to us. Remember, they had that one graphic that came out and was like Arsenal out, Leicester in, and then their fans actually believed that shit.
Well, I
They actually
mean,
believe that
Leicester,
shit.
West Ham fans, Spurs fans, they do a lot of that. But
Deluded. So,
that's
yeah,
harsh, man.
so but I feel like them coming up would be good for vibes because I mean, like, the
I
Premier
want
League is
Leeds, man.
fun.
That's an easy 3 points at the Emirates. Ellen Road's tricky. Like, tricky, really and truly. Ipswich, we
Yeah.
could bop them as well, even though their
Yeah.
manager's doing great.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm enjoying a little bit of that. I'm just like peeking in. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna watch it the whole time. I'm gonna watch when the playoffs. It's getting close to playoffs. I don't have time for everything. I'm not about to sit here and act like I've been watching it the whole time. I really haven't. I haven't been watching.
I think you only
Who's
watch
down
it if
there?
you support one of those clubs, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, we are gonna go ahead and get out of here. I got to stop a little bit early because I have an Instagram live to do. I don't know why I do this to myself. I have like so much stuff to do today,
Putting in work, man. The grind don't stop, Jess, man.
but I'm lazy.
You
I am
can't be lazy, man. You got subscribers and engagements to be getting, man. Come on.
lazy. Like I really am. I could literally just go back home and like lay down. So yeah, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Make sure you guys go and watch. If you guys weren't there, 250 of you guys in here. If you guys weren't there, we did a live stream earlier and you guys can go check that out. We talked about some different things, some of the same things. Um, Diluted got more time to talk about Emil on that one because he was just like going insane and was
What do
saying
you
that he
mean
should
going
start
insane?
every other game for the rest of the season. And that
Whoa. You see how this lady slanders my name, people?
not
Bloody
only
hell.
that he would that he would sell Odegaard for
Tell the
Emil to
truth and
have
shame the devil,
be
man.
fit
This is
for the
crazy.
rest of his life. This is
I can't
insane.
believe I'm
He
being
said it.
slandered. I
So
was so respectful to this lady on my channel, and she's telling lies, guys. I can't believe you're lying like this.
it's like I cannot believe he said it, but he did.
Are
He honestly did. So yeah,
you gonna believe someone that
watch
wants to go back and sign Mudryk, people? You know,
I
go watch the
100%
video,
that
draw
is
your own
that's
conclusions.
as shameless as it is. I
She's a
like
hypocrite as well. Says she's got a problem with injuries, but wants Isak.
if Fabrizio Romano said Arsenal put in a bid for Mudryk, I'd be yes, like I'd be
You
so
are
happy.
shameless. I didn't think
I
you was
am
this shameless.
so shameless. I don't think people understand how badly I thought we were gonna get him and how heartbroken I was when we didn't. I
Nah, you're
literally
shameless.
like a little side story on that before we get out of here is that so this is my birthday and like all of this stuff was like going down obviously is like January transfer and I saw like
What
the
was it? Your 50th
initial
birthday?
yes my 52nd actually just in case you wanted to know and you didn't send me a birthday gift or anything so like shame on you yeah so always asking for an envelope on your birthday from auntie for money where's my money like what like come on but
April the
listen
13th next week.
so like the tweet came out from like Fabrizio or whatever them that like Chelsea were on their way to wherever they were at to go get him and I was like what's going on? What's happening? What's going on? I had to sit at dinner for my birthday with Neeks, Lias, who else was there? Um who else was there? A couple of other people were there too and they were fucking going in on me.
You let that ruin your birthday. You should have aired that. You should have got the Henny out and just aired
I
that.
was
They would have
so
known.
like, I mean, we had a good time, but I was just like, this is just not it. This is not what I want to be doing. They're like, I thought you were gonna get Mudryk. I thought you were gonna get Mudryk. Chelsea guys again. And I was just like, I cannot believe it. And then all the Chelsea fans that I knew didn't even want him. They didn't even want him. I was like, y'all don't even want him. It's
That's
crazy.
to be fair. That January was annoying because I thought we was gonna get João Felix as well. But it's funny how everything worked out for the best. Really,
I did a video where I said we were gonna get both of them.
I think we all did. Really, I mean,
And we got neither.
Yeah, got none really and truly. Someone
So
said you're
yeah.
having a midlife crisis about a road runner.
I am. He will forever be my hear me out. Go back, restore the feeling.
Mine would have been. Do you know what? To be fair, when was the last time I was kind of upset that a signing didn't happen? I would say either Douglas Luiz or Caicedo in January, or
You're
Vlahovic.
upset about Douglas Luiz?
Yeah, 'cause I wanted him, and I think we played them. I think we played them at the time when it was kind of happening, and you know when all the Brazilians at the end of the game they're hugging
He
each other,
scored
they're
from
doing
the
all that.
halfway. He scored or not
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
halfway from the corner. He scored from the corner. I remember
I
that.
thought that was happening. I was frustrated. The Caicedo one frustrated me because when you looked at the language that was being reported by the Athletic, it's like Brighton are telling you you're not getting him, but we're still trying to get
That
him.
was annoying.
Like, yeah, it was jarring, really. But yeah, I was vexed about Caicedo, to be honest. I just had it in my head that January we're getting
They're coming.
Caicedo, summer Declan Rice.
Exactly. It was like when you have it in your head and you just like, I don't think I've had the rug pulled out from underneath me like that in a long time.
That's why I don't get excited no more, man.
Yeah, that's like it ruined me. Like I
There's
was like,
no point.
okay, we're not getting anybody. Don't get excited. And that's why, like, when Declan Rice would, like, Man City started putting in bids, I started getting that bad feeling. I was like, "It's happening again."
Nah, do you know what? With that, I was cool with that because so one of the I can't remember his name, but and I'm not one to advocate the ITKs, but there was one of them Arsenal ITKs that has a good success record. He was saying, "No, Arteta's been to his house. He's this, that, and the third." I thought, cool.
He went
In
to
fact,
Gabriel Jesus' birthday party. Like,
swear, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's
yes,
crazy.
he went to
That's
Gabriel
crazy.
Jesus' birthday party
Arteta's lit, man. See,
during the
Arteta's doing what he does.
season. I was like, not only is that like severe tapping up and like illegal as fuck, but that's hilarious that he doesn't know any of our players except for Saka and Ramsdale, and he's literally at Jesus' birthday party. Like, what? Like, if we don't get him now, I'll be so upset. Because funny enough, this is the last story, guys, and we're gonna get out of here. But I was at somewhere and the AFTV people were there, and James was there when the whole tweet came out that like Man City were about to sign Declan Rice. again, flatline in the party, ears ringing. I was like, what is happening? Genuinely. And like Robbie was there and he was like, oh, I really thought we were going to get him. Like we all genuinely thought it was over. I was not the only one because everybody still talks about the tweet where I was like, it's over. We lost
You
him.
are better than me. You think I'm in the party? I want to hear about football. Well, but pass the rain there for the Hennessy, man. Forget all of that. Deal with it the next day, man. I ain't letting Arsenal ruin that. Like, it's national.
My ears were ringing. I was like, what is happening? And it was like the DiMarzio guy was like, it's almost done. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah,
like,
nah, he might be a fraud. He might be a fraud because he was even tweeting Man United are getting involved. He's a fraud. He is a fraud.
That was insane. I'm looking forward to the transfer window again. That actually just gave me the endorphins and the dopamine that I needed. That
Until people are holding shirts, I'm not getting excited. I'm here to make content, but nope, I've been burnt too many times. I'm not on it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So Higuain was on the plane. So we remember those days. Like,
see, I remember not even. I was on holiday when we signed Mesut Ozil. Like 24 hours before, it said we're going for Di Maria, Benzema, and Ozil. I was like, yeah, this is nonsense. I got back into my villa, and it said we've signed Mesut Ozil. I was like, wow. So until people are signed, I ain't getting excited, man. But we're back in the big time. We might get some big boy players, man.
Fair enough. If you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, go to Deluded's channel, do the same thing, set notifications, all that kind of stuff, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. Mudryk.